ashver.com.
Hello and welcome to ashver.com. You are watching an interesting video on do's and don'ts for step parents, everything you know about parenting changes.
Please read the disclaimer carefully.
Everything you know about parenting changes when you become a step parent. It can be one of the most frustrating and challenging years of your life, or the most rewarding depending on how you approach your new role. As a father of 6 daughters and a stepfather of 2 sons, I have learned a lot from both the biological side of this and the step-parent side. There have been many years doing it wrong, trying to do it different with the next oldest, only finding that isn't working either. The first thing you have to understand is that each child, like every adult, is different. The way they perceive their new environment is totally unique to each child. Some children see the step-parent as that evil entity that can never love them like their estranged biological parent. There are the children who have mixed emotions and depending on the first few months can sway strongly one way or another. Then there are the ones that jump in feet first, welcoming this new parent as their new best friend. With these children you must tread the lightest. One small disappointment and he or she becomes the biggest wedge in your marriage. Over the last 11 years that I have been a step-parent, I have learned some definite do's and don'ts. I will start with the don'ts because they have cost me the most literal blood, sweat and tears. Now this first don't should be a given, but I will mention it anyhow. Never under any circumstance raise your hand or otherwise physically discipline your stepchild. Your significant other and their ex are the biological parents of this child. And if there is to be any butt spanking, it should only be done by them. That leads me into the second don't. Don't overly compensate for punishment dealt by the step-parent when he or she is not around. I know this is a hard one. You want to reassure your child that you are there for them. The issue here is again the child will play off this, and purposely upset the step-parents so that they will get the additional attention from their biological parent. In a child's early years they run to their mother or father and tell the tale of the evil step-parent, then they ask for some small item like a toy at the store or an ice cream from the freezer. Your significant other will not like hearing that you hit their child, and this can cause issues between the two of you. They will also go out of their way to coddle this child and make things between you and that child even more difficult. Children are smarter than we think, they see everything, and they will use this situation to play the two of you against each other. Preteens play this up even more by arguing with the step-parent after hearing their mother or father say, "I will talk with them later." You see, the child assumes that their parent is on their side, and this gives them the ammunition to defy the step-parent's rules. Now teenagers really know how to use this. They will watch the step-parent walk out of the room. And they will go in and whisper to their parent and ask for something that they know the step-parent has already said no to. They do this to annoy the step-parent and plead with their mother or father to bend the rules because it's unfair. One of the most important don'ts when it comes to step-parenting is don't force the child to like you. Never ask them to call you mom or dad, allow them to call you by your first name. You may be their mother or father figure, but you are not their biological parent, so don't try to be. Be yourself. If you enjoy sports, then invite your stepchildren to join you while watching a game or attending one. If they want to, they will join you. Over time, just including them or inviting them to do things with you, regardless of how many times they have refused, will work to your benefit. You cannot get angry or shun them if they say no thanks once or every time you ask them to do something with you. Be the adult. Understand that this is a difficult situation for them and give them time to come around. Understand though, they may never come around. Trying to be their best friend and keeping their secrets from your spouse will come back and haunt you in many ways. You will lose the trust of your spouse if the child tells them that you knew all along about something. Keeping a child's secret, especially a teenager's, can be used against you when they want something that you said no to. You get a line something like this: "I will tell you no, I painted that sign if I can't go," and then the blackmailing began. Another large don't is do not waver on the rules for your stepchild because you want to get them to like you better. This causes issues with your biological children. They see it as unfair, and though you may gain the approval of the stepchild, you're losing ground with your own children. Resentment between the children begins to build, causing higher tensions in the house and issues between the kids. Make sure that you do not have one set of rules for your children and another for your stepchildren. In other words, if you make your stepchild buy their own car and pay for their own insurance, then when your biological child reaches that age, you have to do the same. If you change the rules no matter how many years down the road, both your spouse and your stepchildren will resent you for it, and resentment in any relationship can be Now this don't is by far the most difficult to follow, but is also the most important. Don't under any circumstance have any type of conflict in front of your children and stepchildren with your spouse's ex. Regardless of how much this person baits you, do not stoop to that level. Do not talk poorly in front of the children about the ex. No child wants to hear you call their parent a loser, even if they are. A child, especially a preteen or a teenager, will always side with their biological parent when two adults are yelling and screaming at each other. If this yelling and screaming match aims in your favor, the child win with their biological parent in order to try and get them to feel better, will tell every little dirty secret they know about you, or they will fabricate stories, which we know doesn't make the parent feel better. It adds fuel to the fire, and this can rage out of control. Both the biological and the step-parent, regardless of which one fits you, need to be civil to each other, especially in front of the children. You plan on being married to your spouse forever, which means this other person will always be a part of your life, whether you like it or not. I am going to call this the last don't for now, though I know there are many other don'ts that I could share. If you want any advice about this subject, contact me. I will gladly share my experiences with you. Now the last don't bite your tongue with your spouse if you feel they are treating your child, their stepchild, unfairly. You will regret not speaking up for your child, and regardless the outcome, at least you spoke your mind. Do not argue or disagree with each other in front of the children. You do not want them to hear you discuss your disagreement or your views. They will learn to use them against you both. Do not ever tell your child, regardless of how mature you think they are, that the other parent is wrong, but you're not arguing with them about it anymore. So sorry I tried. That will tell your child that you gave up on them and let the other parent win. You never want your child to think you gave up on them. This final don't brings us to the first do. The first do comes from the final don't, and that is, do show a united front with your spouse when explaining to your child that they cannot do something, whether you agree or not. Once the discussion with your spouse is done, and a decision has been made, the only thing that child, regardless of age, needs to see and hear is that the two of you have discussed it and agree on the decision. Having your discussions behind closed doors and away from the children, and then returning in agreement with each other, will remove the ability of both biological and stepchildren to play you against each other. Note, there has to be a lot of give and take during these discussions. If one parent always gets their way, there is a communication issue between the adults. Fix this. It's not healthy for a relationship if one person always gets their way. Communication brings me to the next do. Do discuss with your spouse your feelings on the big things, like when can a teenage girl date? Are we buying their first car? How are you going to handle finding out one of your children smoke or are experimenting with drugs? Do you believe in spanking? Does your spouse? When can a teenage boy date? Who gives who the sex talk ... and all the other big things in a child's life and yours. If the two of you wait until one of those situations arise, you will find more often than not, you have different views on how to handle these situations. Being proactive in these situations rather than reactive will always benefit everyone involved. Now back to the ex. Yes, there is a definite do when it comes to them. First, if the ex is at all civil, make sure you let them know when you have grounded or punished the child and why. This way the child cannot fabricate stories, and hopefully the ex will continue with the punishment during their visitation time, showing the child that all of the adults in their lives are working together. Do include the biological parent in the child's milestones. If the ex is in a relationship, you probably don't have to invite them to birthday parties and other functions in your home. They probably already have plans to celebrate the occasion with their side of the family. If they are still single, and not a complete jerk, invite them and the child's other grandparents. It's the right thing to do, plus you were part of their family once. Your spouse should understand, and if they don't, have a heart-to-heart with them. Let the biological parent know if the child is involved in any sports or extracurricular activities they may want to attend, and they should be there to support their child. Now, my ex and my spouse are civil with each other, but it is very apparent, at least to me, that they are definitely not fond of each other. On the other hand, my spouse's ex and I get along great. We shoot hoops together, have worked together, and even helped get the other one a job where we work. Regardless of how civil you are to the ex, there will be times where you feel you are a much better parent than they ever could have been, and when your stepchild puts that ex up on a pedestal, it hurts your feelings. You find yourself wanting to tell that child all the facts about their parents so that they can see them for who they really are. My suggestion for handling those situations is, suck it up, you big baby. Continue to bite your tongue and let the child learn for themselves who that other parent truly is. They will respect you for it as they get older, and you will find your relationship with your adult stepchild to be just as rewarding as you expected it would be when they were young. Respect is the basis of the next do. Do treat your stepchild respect, especially if they are between the age of 12 and 18. Respect is a two-way street. Just as that child has to earn your respect, you have to earn theirs. Just because you are an adult does not mean that a child has to respect you. If you only yell and scream at that child and jump up and down and stomp your feet constantly saying "because I said so, because I'm the parent and you're the child," while living in my house you will follow my rules or I said no. End of discussion. Without listening to their reasoning, how are you ever going to learn how the child perceives things? If you listen, you may find that you change your mind and can learn to trust your stepchild's decision-making skills. You are shaping and teaching this child to be an independent adult and a functioning member of society, aren't you? I think there are enough people in this world who live within their own little box, not seeing anything or anyone around them. They are rude, inconsiderate, and think the world revolves around them. Do not raise your stepchild to be one of these people. Let them express themselves when they are young. Teach them respect by showing them respect. Do always participate in your children's and stepchildren's lives equally. Go to every football game, band concert, ballet recital, baseball or softball game, choir concert, etc. You have to do your best to attend all functions. Do not use the excuse that you had to work when your son or daughter had a concert so you aren't going to your stepchild's function. Go to it and just make sure you do what you have to make it up to your biological child by not working during their next function. Know your children's step, biological, adopted or otherwise, be involved, make a Facebook page, get on Twitter, find out who your children are talking to, who their friends are, what they really do when they are not at home. You are supposed to protect your children and you cannot do that if you do not know who they are. Getting involved does not mean stalking. Enjoy time with them, be the house that all the neighborhood kids come to. You will find that you are more relaxed when you trust and know your children. I am going to give you just one more do as a step parent. As with the don'ts, there are many other do's I have found to work over the years, so if you would like this old man's advice on being a step parent, just contact me. I am happy to share my experiences. Now a great do to end on. Do with all of your being, with all that you can and with all your heart, love that child. Even when they tell you you're not my parent, I don't have to listen to you or the dreaded "I hate you." The only real duty you have as a step-parent is the same one you have as a parent, and that is to love and protect your child, educate and shape them to be a respectful contributor to society. Love comes in many forms and has many definitions, but not when it comes to a parent's love for their child. The way you feel for your biological child has to be the way you feel for your stepchild, and you need to let them know you love them. They honestly don't know you do if you don't tell them. They know you love their mother or father because you expressed it by marrying them, but what tells them you love them too? Nothing tells them but you. So get off your butt and quit treating hubs. Find your stepchild and simply say, you know I love you, right then go back to whatever you were doing. Regardless of your relationship with that child and regardless of their age, that simple statement will get them thinking, and whether you realized it or not, it brought a smile to your. Let me leave you with this. No matter where you're from or who you are, no matter what you do or where you've been, we all share this space with each other. We all have goals and inspirations, and we all want the best for ourselves and our children. Please take this with you when you have an opportunity to do something nice for someone you don't know. It can make a world of difference.
Thank you for watching this interesting and informative video. This channel offers motivational, inspirational, valuable and informative videos to soothe, cleanse and inspire your health, mind, body and spirit. You can find a lot of interesting videos on wide range of topics here. Stay tuned and keep watching.